It's an honor and a pleasure, and I'm humbled to be here tonight. Thank you so much to the committee for voting me in, and it's real special. Before I go any further, I want to recognize the most important table here for me. People that have joined me today, first and foremost, with no particular order because they're all the best, but Kate Bucknam, my daughter. Kate is a sophomore at the University of Minnesota, and here's my deal about Kate. Kate grew up in the West Gym, okay? Kate grew up around the women's track team. I'm so thrilled that I had that opportunity to coach the women at that point because my daughter ended up getting all those great attributes from our women's track team and competes well at the University of Minnesota, but the biggest accomplishment was back in the day when I was supposed to watch her. My wife handed her off to me. We went to the West Gym, and I'm in doing a recruiting call or something. And of course, the wrestling team just down the hall is getting after it, and one of the wrestlers comes in and says, "Coach Buck, you better come to the wrestling room." And I go, like she got hurt or something. So I go over there, and I look in, there's a rope, okay, that you guys climb at the top of the girder, okay? There's my daughter touching the girder, okay? And I was pretty thrilled about that. Say, hey, I got an athlete here, and I go, you guys must have helped her up. And they go, no, coach, watch her do it again. And she climbed down and went right back up and banged her girder again. So she did that, and also she stepped in on a physiology class one time when she was about 8 years old and sat in with Dr. Dalginer for a whole class. So, Kate, I'm glad you're here. My mom and dad, they were here for my first conference championship in 1985. What can I say? They've been a big support for me. My brothers and my family have been awesome, and my mom and dad were, a big part of that. And I'm so fortunate to have them here. And thanks for coming. Jack Jennett, I always loved when Coach Jennett came to the track. Obviously did great things for the University of Northern Iowa, and I'm just thrilled, Jack, you could sit with us tonight. Carmen, my neighbor, this is back when cell phones weren't around. Carmen was my cell phone. She helped my wife raise my two kids while I was out on those road trips, and more importantly, she's she's the best. And Carmen, thanks for being here. And obviously, my wife Cindy, I couldn't have got through any of this without her. Great support, and just appreciate everything, honey. Thank you so much for helping us. Getting something like this, obviously, as you know, it's not a one-man operation, and that table right there is really, really important to me. Tom Shellhart, I appreciate you, mentioning how long I've been here. That's kind of cool, but I will say this, first impressions are everything, and as I look around through this, wonderful group of people, I have probably a story for every table. But I'll never forget the first day I was on campus, okay? And somehow I always got hooked up with the wrestlers, but I got on campus, and Chuck Patton and Lyle and Glenn Henry and Briggsy, they're all going to Hy-Vee to eat. That was one of our favorite things to do back in the day. Well, I had just arrived from Massachusetts, 1979, and I pretty much didn't have any money. So we're going out to eat, and I'm the new guy, and I go, shoot, I go to Briggsy because I felt like, here's a guy that had some kindness in his eyes. I said, Briggsy, I need $10. And Briggsy hands me a 20. And this, to me, says it all. He hands me a 20. I go, Briggsy, I only need 10. He goes, no, you don't. You need 20. Okay, whenever anybody asks for money, they need twice of what they really need. So, and of course, I looked at him and go, Briggsy, thanks, man. That's awesome. And then I go, right after that, I go, I'll pay you right back. And then Briggsy says, no. He goes, don't worry about it. Friends don't keep count. And you don't have to worry about it. So I knew right from the very beginning I was at the right place, because of the wonderful people that I met right off the bat. And then, Tom mentioned being here for 25 years as well, and of course, I had some pretty good success, and many times I got the itch, okay, to look at a couple different schools. And it was always my dad and my mom when I would tell him, hey Dad, this is open, that's open. And he goes, no, you don't want any of that. You're in the best place you could be. You just put your head down and coach hard. And you don't need to be any place else. That place is a gold mine. And just even back in 1985 to 90s, he knew that right off the bat when I couldn't see it sometimes. And so I just really appreciated that great advice. I want to thank all my friends that are here, the officials. I see some of them as well. As you know, track and field, we need a lot of people to run those meets. Troy, you did a pretty good job, okay? Batesy and Steve McTaggart and all those guys, Bob Lee and all those guys that helped us, man, I just really appreciate it because we couldn't have got it done. I wanted to thank the media. They were great, covering our, I was pretty relentless with them, making sure they knew about all of our meets and all that. So I just appreciate all that help that I received. I do, Tom mentioned it too, I was kind of aggressive a little bit with the administrators. I want to apologize to the administrators a little bit. See, Coach Farley knows this, us coaches, Don Griggs, Tracy, and Chuck Patton, us coaches, we get told no a lot, okay? No, you're not good enough. No, you don't have a facility. No, you don't have this. No, you don't have that. No, I'm going somewhere else, okay? And you just put your head down and you go for the next guy. Okay? Administrators, I treated them the same way. I didn't take no for an answer, unfortunately. But they certainly, I was fortunate to have great administrators to work with. Bob Bowlesby, who hired me. Stan Sheriff, who hired me as an assistant. All the way across the board. Chris Retrieve, we didn't have a track for 15 years. And we finally got a track. Okay? And then Rick Hartzell as well. I mean, those guys weren't just administrators, they were coaches too. And they understand that there was going to be a lot of ups and downs, and I wasn't going to be told yes a lot, but they always put their arm around me. And they always said, hey, just hang in there, we'll get to that next level. Okay, and I just appreciated that so much. And all we were trying to do is, again, as Tom said, he nailed it on the head. I was just trying to create an optimal environment for our athletes to succeed. And that was what the goal was. And the goal was not just the athletes, and I'll talk about them in a minute, but it was my coaches, okay, and my assistant coaches. I had to create an optimal atmosphere for them to succeed. And I think I did a pretty good job because obviously we've had some great assistants. Bill Lawson, who was in the Hall of Fame. My other two coaches, Doug Case and Travis Geffler, who are superstars, who like brothers to me, and they would help me get this program to where we all enjoyed the success. And I look at the young coaches that are out there, Kyle Kepler and those guys that work with me, they were awesome. And so that was the environment, that was what I was trying to push all the time. And I have to tell you, there was one time there was an associate AD that was giving out grades for the year, okay, at the end of the year, and I ended up getting like a C, okay, we won the conference championship, and this was a few years ago, and I was really upset about that. I got a C, okay, we won the NBC meet, we were top 10 in the nation, the whole bit, and of course, there were for some other reasons why I got the C, but that weren't on the field, but we always did things the right way, but we were always pushing that envelope, okay? So I came back to the office, and I was mad. I was steaming mad, okay? I was kicking stuff and throwing stuff around, and Coach Case goes, Buck, what's up? And he knew I had come from a meeting. And I go, I got a freaking C, okay? I got a C. And he goes, what was your grade point in college? It's the truth. And I go, 2.75. And he goes, so what are you complaining about? You got a C, no big deal. Okay, we're C guys. I got a C too. It's no big deal. It's a good grade. Let's go out and coach. So anyway, the sport was unbelievable. And I can't thank it enough. And finally, I just want to thank my athletes that competed here. I can't say enough about them. it was one of those things, again, Troy mentioned the time, that was really poignant to him when he was a student. I remember a time back in the day when I'd sit in as an assistant coach and I'd go to the wrestling matches. And I'd watch us tear up Oklahoma State and Iowa State in those great wrestling matches. And it burned in my brain, creeps, wrestling, and knocking a guy down. And I watched the interaction between Briggsy and Coach Miller, and I knew that was a winning combination right there. And then I watched the basketball game that was before the Kansas moment, okay? It was before Coach Miller's, and I was there with Coach Miller and all that he had done. And it was a game against Wisconsin. It was a home game in the Dome. If you can some of you people can remember, Jim Berry was coaching. And it was on a tartan basketball floor. And Bob Bowlesby was the AD, and I can remember us beating Wisconsin. Does anybody remember that? I remember it. And I just looked at that and I go, whoa, that's some serious stuff right there. I want to do that. I want to be like those guys. And I watched Coach Miller, and I said, I want to be like his team. And so that's what we did. It was because of that we got after these athletes, that we weren't afraid to recruit anybody in the state. We wanted to punish everybody. We wanted to win everything. And so we get out there and we started tearing it up. And we end up with a table full of superstars that some of them that I'm looking at right now, it was unbelievable. And probably my biggest coaching moment, thinking that I knew everything, was our Kansas moment in 2000. And Robbie Brock came into the office. We had a pretty good group of milers, and he came in and he said, hey, Coach, he goes, I think you can win the 4x-mile at Drake. Okay, now, the Drake is kind of one of those holy grail meets for us. It's a bowl game, okay? And Brock, he said, we can win that 4x-mile. But Brock, I go, we got these great 800-meter guys, we got these good 400-meter guys. We've got to go after the relays we can win. Okay, we're not doing that 4x-mile thing. Okay, Stanford's coming. Stanford's coming. They just won the national championship. And I said, we're not doing it. He walked out. A week later, he comes in the office and goes, Coach, I think we can win that 4x-mile. And I go, Brock, give it up. We're not doing it. Okay, we're not putting up a team that can't win. Okay, when we got these DMR and the 4x8 and all these other things. And he goes, all right, finally comes in the third day. Coach, we can win that 4x-mile. And I go, all right, Brocky, we're going to do it. Okay? If you're picking the order, okay? I'm not picking the order, you're going to pick the order. If you think you're so smart, we'll go ahead and put it in there. So we go ahead and we put the 4x-mile in. Okay, we're up against the big distance programs, the Notre Dames, the Indianas, the Stanfords, the whole gambit, okay? And I watched as our guys, leg one, leg two, 4-minute mile, a 4:01 mile, a 4:03 mile. Before I know it, it's us and Stanford with 2 laps to go. And then it's us and Stanford with 1 mile to go. Burris knows, we were sitting in the stand together. I'm thinking this is not a good idea. When they were getting ready to go, and I'm thinking, man, it's a good idea. I think we can win this thing, okay? And sure enough, off the last turn, okay, Laz Chulog comes down. He runs a 4-flat mile, 3:59 split. He outleans the Stanford guy, okay? And we upset and won the biggest relay against the biggest dog in the planet. It was Stanford, and it was all because of one of my athletes. And I knew right then, okay, that I better listen to these guys a little bit more, okay? And I certainly did, and I guess that's the thing that led from 2000 to 2008. We had this incredible run. Won a bunch of those things, and it was all because we started really listening to those guys, okay, and really understanding that, hey, they know what they're talking about. And so, with that being said, I just want my hats off to my assistant coaches, my hats off to my athletes, and hats off to my wife, who made it all happen, okay. I was the bus driver, okay. It wasn't about that, it was about those guys, and I'm so proud of them. And, I just thank you finally for the chance to coach you. This is a special place in regard to the fact that it wasn't compartmentalized like what I'm coaching now. I mean, we were in the mix, and I was able to mix it up with Glenn Henry Chuck Patton, Blau Schwarzenbach, and all those guys, Don Briggs, Eldon Miller, Mark Farley, all those guys, Daryl Mudra, all that. I watched it all. And I just tried to get something a little bit from everybody. And so I'm a product of UNI. I'm a product of everything that you guys allowed me to do, and I thank you very much.